netizens. It's your boy Jay from Jedi Natural Fitness. Today I'm going to perform my second day on the 5x5 workout or workout B, which consists of hang clean, conventional deadlift, and the flat bench press. Now in the video, I am stretching my wrist for mobility for the wrist when I'm performing the hang cleans to avoid injury. When it comes to the hang cleans or clean in general, you don't catch the bar with your hands. You catch it with your front delt or your shoulder, say the clavicle. Now I am stretching my whole shoulder to easily catch the bar in the rack position, preparing my shoulders so that I could avoid injury there as well. The wrist holds is I do that usually for 1 minute to 2 minutes. It depends on how heavy I'm going to do the exercise. If it's lighter, maybe just 1 minute or less. But it's heavier, I make sure to at least stretch it for maybe 2 minutes or longer. Now, just starting with the empty bar with the hang power clean, just to practice, just to warm up the body, to prepare my body on the hang cleans. 5 reps on the empty bar, no weight, even though the bar already has its own weight. Now usually, just like in workout A, I start with my workout with the barbell squat. But since the deadlift is similar to the clean, at least the first pull, the hinging of the floor, I'm using the clean as a warm-up for the next exercise, which is the conventional deadlift. And plus, in my opinion, the barbell squat is the most important exercise in the program, so that's why I start with that. And I usually squat twice a week, which is usually on Monday or Friday. But on Wednesday, the one in the middle, I don't squat, but I do perform deadlift instead. And since I'm doing some sort of squatting on the snatch and the clean, so I don't overuse my quads on squatting. It's my first warm up for the hang clean. Clean or the hang clean is an excellent exercise for the back, the upper back mainly, the traps, the calves, since I'm extending my body, including the calves, the hips, and since I'm squatting too, or the front squat, which is the full clean, it actually hits the quads as well, and it hits the core muscles as well, and a little bit on the bicep and the forearms, because I'm pulling it off the floor. Not only a hinging movement, but a vertical pull as well, that involves the bicep, the shoulder, the traps, and the upper back. This, I believe, is the last warm-up set before I move on to my main set, the 5 sets of 5 on the hang clean. Now I believe I'm going to lift 80 pounds on my work weight on the 5x5 on the hang clean. Not much weight on it, so that's why I'm still performing it on the hang position still, because I'm still able to lift it on that position. Where if it gets heavier, now that's where I'm going to start on the floor, which is that I need to have some help more from my lower body to lift the weight. I perform the hang clean instead of the full clean is because for me the full clean from the floor is a little bit more taxing, even if it's lighter weight. But the hang position it's easier, so I don't do it on the floor, and it actually saves me time on the set, so I could finish my workout faster. Resting here for maybe 1 minute or less, since the weight is not that heavy yet. So maybe I probably wait resting around 30 to 1 minute on each set. Highly advised not to go straight to the work set when you feel like you're not rested enough, because it might cause some injuries if your movement is not perfect, or at least technically sound on performing this movement, because you might make a mistake and hurt yourself. So I'm resting a little bit longer, or rest enough just to perform the next set safely. Now, some people ask me why I don't perform the full clean with the jerk, just like you see in the Olympic weightlifting sport. Because one, I am not a weightlifter, which is people usually think because when I perform this exercise, but I'm just using this exercise to build my body, to build strength, to burn body fat, and to build muscle. Yes, you can build muscle with this. And look at the Olympic weightlifter, especially in the high level. You can see their physique, especially the Chinese. They have a physique that is good enough to probably win a national show in a bodybuilding competition. And the full clean and jerk is just very taxing on the body. It's like you're performing a whole burpee, but with weights on each set. So I don't perform it. Some of my previous clients like to perform the whole clean and jerk, but for me, especially for returning lifters or novice, I highly advise not to perform the full clean and jerk. And since the clean part is actually the harder portion of the lift on the clean and jerk, and just practicing, it's a good idea to practice just on the clean, and it just saves time on gym time. So I don't have to stay on the gym a little longer, because I have to rest longer, and yeah. I don't want to add another pushing exercise. I just, as much as possible, I want to balance it, like one pressing movement, one pulling movement, and a hinge or a squat. Add another pressing movement, like say a pushing movement, like a jerk. It's just going to create some kind of imbalance on the body, where I'm mostly just doing more pushing than pulling. And that's why I perform just the clean portion of the lift only for the pulling part of the lift. Mostly the pulling muscles like the biceps, the traps, the forearms, and the upper back. Great exercise for strengthening the posterior chain, just like the deadlift, but you just perform this explosively, and I believe this is superior when it comes to calf development if you compare it to squat or the deadlift, because I'm actually extending my calves when I perform the clean exercise, just like the snatch as well. Same logic there. I'm just resting longer than I have to, so when my heart rate drops to normal, or at least close to normal, that's where I perform the next set again, so I don't have to worry about injury or injury myself, and do it properly. It is said that the first barbell exercise in history was the standing overhead press, but I don't think that's actually the first movement or the first exercise. I do believe it's the clean the weight, or the clean, because you have to clean the weight off the floor just to perform the overhead press or the press, especially back in the old days where squat rack is non-existent. So you need to actually learn how to clean the weight first before performing the press or the overhead press. Back then, it is actually mandatory to learn the clean, and some say that back in Arnold's era, not the golden era but the era before that, the inclined bench press is rare, so, or at least the inclined bench press was not the same as the modern one where it has a rack. Back then Arnold said it was like a plank that you have to put it on the wall, so you really have to clean the weight first, then lie down, and that's where you press the weight in the incline, perform the incline press. So yeah, the clean is actually one of the very old school and one of the very first barbell exercise that they do in the past. It was mentioned by Arnold in one of his interviews that he thinks that the clean, the snatch, and the clean and jerk was not teaching regularly in the gym anymore, unlike his unlike the old days where it actually is a regular exercise, where it's as common as the bench press or as common as the bicep curl. Maybe it's because the popularity of the machines, or maybe the people just they think it's not needed anymore, so they think that the clean or the snatch is only performed for Olympic weightlifting sport, where back in the day it was actually performed regularly in gyms to help build their physique, to help build their muscles. That was the old school way back in the day. During Arnold's era, especially the era before Arnold's, which is the golden era, where John Grimek, Reg Park, and Steve Reeves was the popular era. The drug-free era, I should add that. Here I am preparing it for the conventional deadlift, and I do need to warm up, or at least warm up excessively on this lift, unlike when I do on the squat. It's because I'm already warmed my body enough when I perform the clean, and since that movement is a hinging movement similar to the clean, I don't have to warm up longer on the deadlift. If this is just 100 pounds without counting the bar at least, which is, I am not sure how heavy that is. There's only 100 pounds or 50 pounds on each side. Just perform it, not 5 reps, probably 3 reps, just to warm up my body. Once I just added 5 pounds on each side, just a little rest before I perform the work set on the 5x5 work set on the deadlift. Resting a little bit longer because I'm already tired from performing 5 sets of 5 on the hang clean. So might as well, that's why I rest a little bit longer even on my warm-up. Now, the deadlift is an amazing mass building exercise. It is said it may be the queen of the exercise, just like the squat, which is the king of all exercise. It hits so many muscles like the posterior chain, the glute, the hamstring, the calves, the upper back, the traps. And for grip, for strengthening the grip strength, which is part of the forearm muscles, some say it even hits a little bit on the biceps as well, or it actually develops the muscle on the biceps when it gets heavy, at least for the new lifters or the new or beginner lifters. They can actually develop muscle even on the deadlift. Now, the deadlift is an amazing exercise aside from building muscle, but it is amazing because it's a good supplemental lift that it could help increase the hinging portion of the clean and the hinging or the pulling portion of the snatch. And that's why I put this on my program. So I only deadlift once a week because I believe that deadlifting once a week is enough because it is a very taxing exercise, and you could actually overtrain on this lift. That's why I only perform this exercise once a week. Even bodybuilders or the old school bodybuilder Reg Park recommended deadlift once a week, especially if you're strong enough, or you could lift 300 or 400 pounds. My workout is usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Wednesday I only deadlift on Wednesday because I don't believe that you have to squat 3 times a week, so that's why I just do put remove the squat on the middle, which is Wednesday, and I'm just do perform deadlift instead. Now I believe for a serious lifter or even a bodybuilder that deadlift should be a staple in a lifting, for increasing muscle mass and decreasing body fat. It's also an amazing fat burning exercise since you're actually using so many muscles all over the body, and I believe that when you build muscle all over the body, if you have enough muscle, even on your rest days that you don't have to work out, you're still burning the fat. The afterburn effect, that's what they call it, but I'm not sure. But like I said, the deadlift is a compound movement. It's one of the best compound movement for building muscle, not just for the back, but for the whole body. Now the muscle that only doesn't hit here on the conventional deadlift, just like on the clean and the snatch, I believe it's the chest area. That's where the bench press or the press comes to play. This exercise is actually an amazing ab building exercise because I believe that this is the exercise that almost, or usually this is the only exercise that make my abdominal muscle cramp, and I almost never experience that on sit-ups or crunches, but when it comes to deadlift, especially when I reach like 300 pounds or above, my whole ab is going to cramp. That's why I believe that it is an amazing exercise. And for the abdominals, for the people that who want to build abs, well, and they're not deadlifting, but they want to build some abs, instead of doing hundreds of crunches, why not just do deadlifts or squats or any standing movements like the the snatch, the squat, the clean, and the press, and get strong on those, and your abs will increase, the muscle will increase. That is my last set for the deadlift. And the deadlift is really one of the best exercises if you want overall physique, especially for people who wants to build up muscle all over the body. People who have a hard time gaining muscle, like the skinny people, deadlift is one of the best exercise that you could do to increase muscle mass all over the body, not just the back, not just the legs, everything. Just like the squat that hits every muscle in the body, deadlifts and squats are one of the key exercise for building overall mass, for especially for people who are skinny or very skinny. Of course, nutrition is important as well for building size. So people who are having a hard time building muscle, nutrition and eating lots of food is equally important. If not, it is the most important thing to increase muscle mass for people who have having hard time building muscle. I'm going to perform is going to target the whole upper body, which is the bench press. This exercise is arguably one of the best exercise, upper body exercise, to build the chest, the triceps, and even the front delts or the shoulders. If you want to have that thick look for the upper body, bench press is one of the best things that you can do in the gym. It is possibly the most popular exercise that you can do in the gym. It's almost as equally popular as the bicep curls, even though I don't do those. The lower body portion and the vertical pulling exercise is finished. Now it's time to perform a pressing movement or a horizontal pressing movement. First, I have to warm up with this exercise first for safety, especially the bench press. It possibly has the highest injury rate for the shoulders, and in my past experience, I actually somewhat injured my shoulder before because of ego lifting on this exercise. I have to warm up very thoroughly and very careful with this lift to avoid injury. So I always start with the empty bar when performing this exercise. Now I'm going to add a little more weight, which is 25 pounds on each side, which is 50 pounds. And with the bar weight, which is I still don't know how heavy it is. Maybe I'm gonna ask someone how heavy this stick bar is, so I'll know how accurately heavy I'm lifting. For warm-up sets with this weight, I only perform 3 reps, I believe, so I don't have to tire myself for the warm-up. And before I get to the main sets or the work set, I don't have to do higher rep, so you don't have to get tired. As for the warm-up, the warm-up's purpose is to practice the movement without fatiguing yourself before even going to the work set. So I don't have to use high rep on these things. And just putting some blood flow in the shoulders to avoid any unnecessary injury. Now this is 35 pounds on each side. It's still a warm-up set, and I'm just going to perform a couple of reps on this lift before going to the primary work set, which is the 5 sets of 5 on this lift. Just 3 sets again to just warming up the shoulders. And if you notice, I always what you call this, eat it or squeezing my shoulder blades before lifting the barbell on the bench press. I do this because aside from to make my back stable on the bench, it also helps me to avoid injury on the shoulder. People like me in the past who doesn't do this had some issues with the shoulders when I'm not squeezing the shoulder blades, and then that's where I probably got injured. Aside from a terrible bad form and not controlling the weight with the heavy weight. But now I lesson learned, so I just have to use proper form to just avoid injury and learn from that past experience. For the bench press form, at least for this weight, I always controlling the weight, especially on the concentric or the on the lowering part of the barbell, so I don't have to bounce the weight off the chest, because one, that's dangerous and that's how I injure my shoulder. Two, that's basically cheating when you like bouncing off the chest using the barbell. And when it comes to the reps, when touching the chest area, it's better to go at the nipple line or below the nipple line instead of going or touching the upper chest, because when you put the bar on the upper chest, that's going to tend to flare your shoulder, and that's where the shoulder injury or shoulder impingement is going to happen. So just to make it safely, better put the bar on the nipple area or even below the nipple area to avoid any unnecessary injuries. The weight on the bar is the same as the hang clean that I did earlier, because so far they are both progressing at the same time, because I started with the same weight on the two. So, but I believe that sooner or later the clean will going to stall first, and then I have to adjust on that lift. But that's how it is. This type of program is not created to use permanently. This program is designed for getting you stronger for a couple of weeks. If you are genetically gifted or you're a freak of nature, you could do this maybe 1 or 2 years without worry. But for the regular gym goers like myself, like that doesn't have a good genetic, probably I would be able to do this around 6 to 8 months at the best. And this is designed for beginners or for the newer lifters or people who are returning lifters like myself, who came from some kind of injury and didn't work out for a couple of months. So I started again with this lighter weight and slowly increasing the weight, 5 pounds each workout. Barbell bench press is arguably the best, for me in my opinion, is the best upper body mass builder, and it is a good supplementary exercise for the press or the overhead press. When you increase the weight on this, it could help increase the overhead pressing exercise. So I don't think it would be the same vice versa when you increase the overhead press, but the overhead press or the bench press is not going to increase because of when you get stronger on the overhead press. It doesn't work that way, but when you get stronger on the bench press, the overhead press will follow. And that's it. See ya.